Hi there folks, my name's NovaWing24 and welcome to another little review of an FSX and P3D product. So we're going to be going to Australian skies today, so we're going to be taking up the latest release from Ant's airplanes. So Aussie Ant has been a wonderful developer of both aircraft and scenery for FSX and P3D for a number of years now. And he's developed freeware for a long time, and he also developed some payware aircraft. But this is his latest payware release, and it is quite frankly absolutely freaking spectacular. It really is. Like, not gonna lie, this thing is going to gives A2A a run for its money. Like, and that's a pretty huge statement to make, as anybody who sort of knows much about A2A products will attest to. Like, this is pretty incredible and pretty amazing what he can do. So yeah, so I just want to. So we're going to be having a look at this today. We're going to be expecting some of the detail here. We're going to go through. We're going to be taking a early morning dawn flight down the coast of New South Wales. So we're currently here at Ballina Airport. Funnily enough, incidentally enough, this is actually one of Aussie Ant's scenery, so one of his updated airports, funnily enough, which is freeware. There'll be a link to his website, of course, in the description of the video. But yeah, it's kind of cool that I was taking off one of his airports. I was just thinking of somewhere to go, but anyway. So yes, onto the aircraft. So the Winjeel is a piston engine trainer. It was designed to meet a Royal Australian Air Force 1948 requirement and entered service in 1951. For those who are aircraft history buffs, you may notice a similarity between this and an aircraft that was in service at the same time, actually, with the Royal Air Force, which was the Percival Provost. Literally, both the Royal Air Force and the Royal Australian Air Force put forward specifications and requirements for a new piston engine trainer to follow on from aircraft that they were both currently using in the post-Second World War era, and needed to fulfill a requirement for it, and they both tendered for it, and two very similar designs, completely independent though. Like, neither design had anything to do with each other. There were no cross-shared designs or anything like that. They were completely developed independently and separately, and yet they both produce an aircraft which is that was very similar to each other's, which is kind of interesting and kind of cool. It kind of shows that, you know, great minds do think alike, kind of thing. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, essentially, it was designed as a two to three seat trainer aircraft. So you got an instructor in the right, a student pilot in the on the left, and also room for a third student observer in the rear as well. Though usually the Royal Australian Air Force ones usually pretty much only flew with the two seats. And it would have a really amazing history with the Royal Australian Air Force, and it would be very long as well. But we'll get to that more once we're in flight. Now, one of the things, you know, I want to show off is the attention to detail that Aussie Ant's gone to in this. Like, completely, you know, the animations include the full engine opening up, so you can actually get this beautiful, incredible view of the Wasp Junior radial actually, you know, in the aircraft, and like all the bits and pieces that it has there, complete with a battery that can actually, yeah, that's actually lowerable from there as well. I mean, it's just absolutely insane and so freaking cool, the amount of stuff that's gone into this. It is mind-bogglingly insane. Does have a few things, but we'll get into that as well as we get into our flight. But as I said, the external model is absolutely incredible. It really is. The textures are amazing. It's just absolutely incredible. Now, funnily enough, the aircraft that he actually got up close and personal with, actually this exact aircraft that we're going to be taking a flight in today, from which is funnily also based at Ballina. One of the reasons why I was picking it. So that's Victor Hotel Oscar Papa Juliet. So it's on the private civil register, and you can actually, if you live in Australia or if you visit Australia, you can actually go up for a flight in this aircraft as well, and we'll put some more details about that in the description as well. But yeah, painted and as it's in its Royal Australian Air Force colours from when it was serving. So there you go. You do get a couple of other models included with this one as well. So you get the standard one, so you get the modernised sort of version of it with some modern avionics. You also get the vintage one, so the one is that actually operated without the modern avionics when it actually operated in Royal Australian Air Force service. You also get, as with that as well, you also get the forward air control version as well, and will both in modern and in traditional sort of times for that one. So we will cover those off more as we go through in the flight. We'll cover off the forward air control variant. But yeah, so you do get the 4 main models with that one. And all have this beautiful, amazing detail, but it's all modelled off this real-world aircraft. So all the sounds that you hear, including the button clicks and switches in the cockpit, they're all recorded by Aussie Ant and actually in the real aircraft. So it's just amazing. It's just incredible. All right, cool. All right, that's enough of me wandering around here. Oh, by the way, folks, we are here today in Lockheed Martin's Prepared 3D version 3, but this aircraft is fully compatible across the ESP platform range, so across FSX, FSX Steam Edition, and Lockheed Martin's Prepared 3D versions 1 through 3. So there's everything is covered off. All right, now I'm going to get away from showing off my poor avatar skills, and we're going to jump back into the cockpit here. Alright, so here we are back in the office. Now, as I said, this thing is, you know, A2A quality. It really is, like with some of the things that it actually details, and we'll have a look at that in just a moment. So, let's quickly have a look here in our in the office, and then we'll go through the startup process, which in the run-up process, which and some of the cool little nifty little things that he's got in here. And as I said, and one of the reasons, and the big reasons, some of the big reasons why I am comparing this to A2A quality products, like I really am. All right, so first off, let's have a look. So here we are. So we've got so not only do the amazing textures on the outside, there are also these incredible textures and detailed textures on the inside as well. So this beautiful sort of rugged, worn look for an aircraft that, you know, it's, you know, 60, 70 years old now. But you know, and he's captured that really, really well. So you got your primary flight displays here. You know, it is, as I said, this is designed as a basic and a preliminary flight trainer, so that, you know, you do have the fact that, you know, it is there, the basic 6 are prominent, and they've got all the information there, and it is very much steam gauges here. And then moving across, you've got your sort of traditional old school radio in the center there. And as I said, we're flying the modern avionics version today. So it does have an updated, some updated avionics as well in there. So we'll just keep there. But we've got all our startup switches and everything we need there on the right hand seat. And then moving down here, we've got this beautifully detailed center console with all the throttle and mixture levels and everything, fuel cutoff, everything modeled. Most things do work and all that kind of there. And as you can see, of course, over there on the left, we do have that's the actual for the student pilot over there. But if, you know, the instructor's got his set of controls over here as well. It doesn't have his gauges, but he's got his controls all set there and ready to go. So yes, absolutely insane and incredible and amazing looking detail. It really is. All right. So now I want to get on to some of the reasons why I want to talk about why it is, you know, A2A quality. So I'm going to do this to help me through this. I'm going to bring up the animation managers here. So so this is the, if I can get to the start of there we are. So yeah, this is the animation manager, but it's more than an animation manager. It is basically the full reference data and everything you need to go through here. There's tutorials in here. There's a whole heap of stuff that goes through here. I might even actually make this a bit bigger so you can see it on the screen a bit more. And it really showcases some of the extra work that that Ant went into with this. It's just absolutely amazing. He's gone to an incredible amount of detail in here, but there's also some quirks here that will actually sort of make catch the unwary. So as you saw, we've got all our engine pedals and everything else open here, so you can control those through the animation manager. FYI though, the actual door command controls the door commands 1 through 4 control the engine pedals. They don't control the actual canopy. Just FYI on that. It's one of the things that he's gone through in his programming of that. But what we're going to do is we're going to close up all of our exterior things at the moment. So we're going to raise that battery back inside the aircraft. We're going to put the fuel cap back on, put the oil cap back on, close the oil cover. Alright, we're going to close engine pedal. Actually, we've got to do this one. You've got to do this one in sequence, funnily enough. You've actually got to do them in sequence. We're going to close the bottom, close the top, close the right one. I'm going to close the left one there. Right. So yeah, it's got a lot of there's a lot of detail here, and it goes through some of this stuff. Now he does things like, for example, you can highlight the mouse, like the clickable zones. This gives you an idea. This may seem like a basic aircraft, but it's been modeled to an incredible detail. So as you can see, a lot of clickable parts of the cockpit. Now something I want to show off as well before we get started as well. We'll skip through here. Oh yeah, so yeah, he uses a lot of custom scripting and a custom gauging as well. And so basically he bypasses the sound system of FSX and P3D, and he uses his own customized sound gauging as well. So it means that the sound that you hear is not piped through FSX directly. It's actually done through different things. So raising these volumes up even slightly will actually sort of like blow everything out. I've had to turn this down, so I do apologize for those who are hoping for some audio sounds of the aircraft. We'll try and get some of those while it's in flight, because it's incredibly loud when it's trying to record a video. Just not gonna lie, it really is. Anyway, so that's all there as well. You can go through now his controls as well. Same thing with his controls. So with his throttles and mixture controls, they don't run off the default FSX settings, whether you're running it through the sim or whether you're running it through something like FSU IPC. It will pick up those, but you can set detents as well using this as well. Just keeping an eye on it, and you can customize your control calibration just for this as well. So if those of you mixture coordinates and detents and stuff like that, this is going to be something that you're going to want to pay attention to, and it can take a little bit of time to getting used to. And again, this is where it sort of becomes like an A2A aircraft. It's very important to read the manuals. This aircraft is not a just jump in and fly aircraft. It's really not. You do have to actually train like the real pilots that spent 30 years training on these aircraft. You do have to spend a bit of time getting to know the aircraft, getting to know its systems before you jump in and fly it. In fact, it actually you have to go through a whole heap of steps before you can even let the Sim's auto start feature actually kick in, and it will always load in non-engine running. It may not be cold and dark, but it won't load in with the engine running. Just FYI. So yes. So yeah, not for somebody who just wanted a simple fly. Anyway, alright, moving on. So this one, so you can customize, calibrate your eye points. And a lot of these features as well, we'll see some extra cool options as well for the camera settings that he had that actually makes things like glow, and you can actually look at stuff. So you actually need some help during the checklist, you can actually get it through this manager as well. Alright, so we're just going to click back through to here. So you can change your type of pilot that you got there, whether the pilot's visible or not, and whether they got sunglasses on or the visor's up or down and stuff like that. Now, something that as I mentioned before, the actual canopy isn't actually attached to an actual doorway, to one of the exit key bindings. It's got it through this custom XML scripting. Now to close it, you literally have to click on it and drag it across the screen. Be careful, because it can do that. Okay. So yeah, there's a couple of things that can sometimes be like, I ran out of screen real estate trying to close it at one point. Like, it can be frustrating and stuff like that. But yeah, just FYI, it's some of the cool stuff that's in here. But you can get through things like that can be a little bit of a challenge as well. All right, so what we're going to need to do before we're going to get started, we're going to need to lock our canopy down. So we'll latch it, and then we're going to lock it closed. There we go. All right. Now we're going to go through here. Let's go through things. Now, again, want to go through here. So this goes through. So you go through all the references for the weights of the aircraft and who's sitting in it and like things like that. And the FAC modifications, including the smoke bombs, which we'll cover off later in the video. And then from that, this is where some of the extra animations, and also again, this aircraft will actually remember how you've flown it. So just in the is something that's primarily been the domain just of A2A. To be honest, I'm actually not aware of any other flight sim developer out there, at least for the FSX and P3D family, that actually has all this stuff go into the aircraft and gets remembered. As far as I know, it's only A2A and now Aussie Ant that actually do this. So for example, you can actually go through here. It actually goes through, remembers the engine hours since your overhaul and stuff like that, total engine hours on it. You can go through, you can check the engine condition, check your spark plugs condition, you can fix them or replace them if you need to. Same with propeller hours, inspections, overhauls and things like that. Now here's the thing, I've overhauled this particular aircraft, so it actually, it shows only a couple of hours on here at the moment, but FYI, you could just give a complete aircraft fix down the bottom. Yeah, so I went through and mistreated the aircraft just to see how badly it affects it, and it does. It does. I sort of, didn't let the engine cool down properly, so it meant that the rubber parts were degraded, so it meant my engines didn't start properly. I didn't inspect the propeller and stuff like that, and suddenly my propeller controls were very sloppy and not very accurate. It's just, as I said, it's really, really telling on how this does. So I'm just going to drop down some of this fuel, because we're not going to need all of this fuel today while I'm here. So it does remember the number of hours you put into the aircraft and all the things that go into it and what you do to the aircraft. So it is something that is, it does encourage you to treat the aircraft the way it's supposed to be treated. It really does. And it goes through and lets you know, the kind of engine realism, whether or not, the way you handle treat the engine and spark plugs is actually going to affect you and things like that. So it's really exciting that there's something like this in another developer's aircraft. It really is, and it's just absolutely amazing. You also get to set your program some setup failures. If you do want to give yourself some challenges as well, you can set up specific things and set some brakes and stuff like that for things to break and for you to be able to recover it. So lots of stuff packed into this aircraft. Lots and lots of stuff packed into this aircraft. It really is. Alright, without any further ado, let's get ourselves underway. Let's get ourselves taking off and heading down. As I said, we're going to be heading down here from Ballina. We're going to be taking a trip down the coast, the north coast of New South Wales. We're going to be heading down to Evans Head. We're going to be landing here, landing there. So let's start with some of our conditions here. So we'll go through. I've done my pre-flight, so let's do our pre-start checklist. So first thing is we're going to make sure we put our... Actually, I need to go back and check. Did I remove... Yes, okay, so I need to remove the wheel chocks and I need to remove the pitot cover. Now I'm going to check put my parking brake on. Alright, normal procedures. Let's go pre-start. Okay, so we're in that one. Alright, so first things first, we need to switch our from external power to flight. Got no external power units. So we set our battery opening. We'll open our throttles about an inch. Okay. Now, here's one of the quirky little things about this one, though. Here's a bit weird. So this propeller shows it's 100 when actually it's sitting at low RPM. And here's the thing. If you use your control keys to actually put your propeller to top, it actually sets it to 0. So you actually have to using keyboard commands. As I said, one of the weird things about the XML coding he's used, and that's kind of freaky and a bit weird every now and again. But FYI, you have to set it to 0 prop to actually set it to full prop. Random thing, just FYI. Alright, got a carburetor set to ram air. Okay, mixtures at idle cut. Okay, we're good. Taxi lights off. Everything's been set. Okay, everything's good. Altimeter looks good. Okay. Airspeed 0. Okay, so let's check our generator switch on. Alright, all other switches off. Okay, fuel cock is on. Okay, so now at this point you can select auto start if you want, but trust me, it won't always work. Alright, now I mentioned before about some of the cool things. We saw that brief animation before where it highlighted all the click spots. If you're having trouble finding a particular switch in the cockpit, you can click the little camera here and it'll actually highlight the control that you need. Really cool feature. Kind of would like that sometimes in my A2As, not gonna lie. Alright, now we need to prime our engine. So now this I often get wrong. Sometimes I flood the engine, but fortunately... Okay, hopefully that should be alright. Lock the primer. Alright, so the ignition magnetos on. Alright. Starter guard up. Rich. As the starter's going, and there we are. Wow, the engine caught first time. Okay, like, Even in prepping for this video, I still never got the engine to catch first time. FYI. Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Alright, start us off. Let's close the starter guard now. Okay, we're going to be good. Everything's looking right. Okay, let's go fast direct. Okay, we've got our instruments right. Alright, now we don't need to worry about the misstart. Now, as I said, if you do flood the carburetor, you can go through the misstart procedure to be able to reset yourself so you can get start through there. So it's a lot of really cool here. Alright, after start checklist. Alright, let's turn our boost pump off. Okay, now gyro instruments on. Okay, there we go. Alright, carburetor to filtered. Filter there we go. Power trucks removed, okay. Alright, generator kicks in at 1100 RPM, checking. Good. Alright. Everything looks good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to taxi down to the our takeoff runway, then we're going to do our run-up. Because as I said, the run-up is very important because it will like sort of keep your spark plugs. As I said, this remembers all your spark plugs and everything else. So you know, it doesn't mess around. It really doesn't. All right. Bit of taxi. Now there are the traffic around at the moment. Correctly, we've got the winds coming out of the west, so we'll need to taxi down to end of 26 here at Ballina for our departure. Absolutely, yes. This is just an incredibly well modeled aircraft. Like it really is, and it's just a. You know, I've seen a few of these aircraft fly at various air shows here in Australia, and you know, there's just something cool about them. There really is. You know, I know. You know, you've always got your fast jets and your trainers, and you know, your fast jets and your combat stuff and whatever. But there's just something cool about the sounds of these Wasp Juniors. There really is. You know, so the same engine actually a variant of the same engine that powers the Grum and Goose. This one. So you know, like 36,000 units of these things produced in their lifetime, which is kind of cool. We're going to taxi on taxiing on the way down to the end of the runway here before we depart. Absolutely insane. Like it really is so well done. This. Probably should have just realised I didn't check my lights properly. Alright, now we'll put our lights on, that might help. Alright, nav, strobes, they're all on. Okay. Landing light on. Okay, that's better. Alright, that should be far enough, so we'll turn ourselves around here. Bit wide. That's a bit better. Kick in all the steering control there, that'll be better. Okay, alright, we'll stop here. We've got no other traffic to worry about at the moment, so we'll stop here and we'll do our run-up. Okay, alright, set the parking brake. Probably should have stopped before I kicked that in. Alright, now let's bring up our run checklist. Okay, temps and pressures. Alright, so let's bring ourselves up to 1600 RPM. Alright. twice the full range of the propeller. On the expected drop. Okay, now let's check. That probably means there's going to be something I'll probably need to look after the propeller a bit better. That's good. Max differential 40 RPM. That's good. Okay, so oil pressure 70 to 110 psi. Ah, of course I didn't put the RPMs up enough for that one. Right, okay, good. Okay. Now when we close the throttle, we should be idling at 5 to 700. Excellent. Alright, run up complete. That's what I like. Okay, good. Alrighty, now, before we take off, we're going to put our boost pumps on. And we've got to set 5-degree rudder trim. And that'll, because this aircraft, because of that power of that engine at the front, that big hulking engine at the front, it does tend to pull a little bit. So set our rudders right. Okay, alrighty. We are ready to go. Okay. Ah, I said, I love this aircraft, really do. Alright, remove the parking brake. Check trims. And rolling. That's sort of like the low speeds that, yeah, like the engine really does sort of kick in with the amount of power it's got. It just pretty much just leaps off the runway. It really does. It just really just wants to get airborne. And you can reduce that that rudder trim once you're airborne as well. Pretty much wind it back pretty much straight up. Cruise, bring it back to about that 1 point. That one I found is a good one for it to sit at. Usually, because I said it's still, the engine still does want to sort of turn a little bit. There we are. As I said, it's absolutely beautiful airplane. It really is. The animations, including the things like, you know, the landing light folding away and stuff like that, is just really, really cool. Alright, now I did mention that this one we're flying today is the modernised variant with the modern avionics. So it does have the modern radios in it. It does also have a modern GPS in there as well. That's available just on, it's not actually modeled, that's not modeled in the cockpit, but it is sort of designed as like a handheld unit, so it's modelled up here on one of the shift pop-ups. Now, you are limited with shift pop-ups. It pretty much just does have your shift 2 for GPS, shift 3 for the animation sort of manager and manuals, as we just have been going through so far. And then shift 4 is your radio stack to come up for your modern aircraft. So yeah, as I said, it's fairly basic with shift pop-ups, but it doesn't need to be. It's the detail that's gone into it is absolutely incredible. We're going to go enjoy this beautiful scenery and cruise up, get up to a bit higher. Because the other thing is, because as I said, this aircraft was designed as a trainer, as a basic air trainer, and part of that requirement, of course, is the fact that it was part of a requirement of, it is a part of a requirement of Air Force pilots, that they have to be able to learn how to control and enter spins and stalls and be able to recover them. And of course, yeah, it's very important that they be able to do that. And so, in fact, the initial prototype version of this aircraft, the two variants that were the two of the original of this aircraft, that were produced were actually so stable and so docile that they wouldn't act. They were almost impossible to put into a spin or a stall. So they actually had to be redesigned for the production model to actually make it. The tail had to be redesigned to actually so it could have an induced spin and stall. And even with those modifications, it's still it's still quite challenging to actually do that. Which is it's a great way to learn for pilots to learn, and it's just it's a challenge. And you know what? I am going to try this. We're going to get a bit of altitude, so we've got plenty of recovery altitude, and we're going to give it a shot on our tour here. We're going to give it a shot, and we're going to give it a go at trying to actually put this thing into a spin and a stall. We really are. So as we climb up to our cruise, we get some safe altitude to do some tours. Let's have another look at the externals. As I said, the externals are pretty damn amazing, and once you're in the air as well, they do still show off this beautiful quality there, beautiful 4096 high definition textures, and it does incredible justice to a very iconic aircraft. In fact, the name Winjeel actually comes from is an Aboriginal word, literally that translates as young eagle. So a very appropriate name for a trainer aircraft. Now, this aircraft, as I said, was designed. It was prototyped, designed for a 1948 requirement, and prototyped and went in production and service in 1951. Now, it would remain in service with the Royal Australian Air Force as their frontline, was their primary basic trainer aircraft all the way up until 1975, and would continue on with that. Now, after 1975, it was formally retired and replaced by the Mackies, so a bit of a change to go from the piston to the jet trainers. But yeah, but it's also subsidised by the CT4 Air Tour as well. Now, beyond that, though, there was also then a few years after that, there was a sudden need of the Royal Australian Air Force and to support the Australian Army in terms of providing forward air control capabilities and being able to mark targets and things like that. So the Royal Australian Air Force had all these Winjeels lying around left over. So what they did is they actually modified them and actually reintroduced them into service, and they would then soldier on until 1995. And operating in a frontline Army support and Army cooperation role to actually be able to mark targets for the Australian Army and ground forces using smoke bombs that would be fitted to the belly. And as I said earlier, that model, the forward air control model, would serve until 1995, when it was replaced in its role by the incoming PC-9, which also would go on to serve and replace the Mackies in the flight crew training role. And you know what? We might even take it. Let's go have a quick look. Well, we'll cut across now to the forward air control version, and we can have a look at that. All right, so here we are in the forward air control version of the Winjeel, which you can see. Yeah, we've got some beautiful Royal Australian Air Force camo colours on there, and you can see that little thing attached to the bottom there. So we've got a little inset view there of just the aircraft as we fly around. So that's the smoke bomb canister holder. So this version has got a couple little differences. One of the cool differences is the fact that you've got this antenna out the front for the communications with the guys in the field, which, by the way, actually sort of like bends, with the airflow. So when you're idle on the ground, it sticks straight up, and then when you fly, it actually sort of bends back, which is a really cool little thing. I really do like that. Now, of course, the other major difference, of course, is the fact that you've got here above on the coaming of the instrumentation panel here, we've got this little marker thing here. So this is actually the control things for the markers. So what you do, we need to run master arm first, and then we need to provide power to the left and right rails. So there's two of those. So there's 12 smoke bombs in total, 6 on each of the rails. And we're to go through. We're going to quickly release a couple of these in a moment. We're going to get a bit lower. And you simply release these just by depressing the brakes for these ones. So let's go for these, and we'll see them drop out of the aircraft. There we go, a couple of them going. Now all we'll do is we'll circle around, and you can actually see them impacting the ground and actually skipping across the ground and actually giving out the smoke. So there they are. So we've got our smoke trails there. So as I said, like this aircraft, would an aircraft that was designed and built in the 1950s would go on and serve as this forward air control role. Actually doing these smoke bomb drops and sort of supporting Australian troops on the front line well into the 1990s until they were replaced by something far more capable. So it's kind of cool the fact that these are still around. Now in terms of dropping these, they will only drop when you are actually sort of in relatively level flight. And so I'll just drop another couple there. But if you try and drop them in a turn, they won't drop at all. So you can see you got the empty rails there. Turn back around. This actually also brings up, you probably just saw there, I've still got the copy board there. So this is one of the odd things about this model. So for some reason, it doesn't show up in the vintage or the civilian versions, but in the military one, having the pilot model on also puts him inside the cockpit as well, which is fine most of the time, but every now and again it sort of is a bit disconcerting because it does, you sort of looking through yourself. But anyway, but yeah, so I just wanted to show that off and show the fact that this aircraft, it just said it's still soldiered on. It was in service for almost 50 years. This little piston engine trainer, and it had a new lease on life as a forward air control aircraft. And it is kind of cool that it is modelled and actually it has the droppable ordnance as well. So no TAC pack and no other add-ons required. It's all included natively inside the package here as well. Alright, so as I said, I just wanted to show that off. Showed off the comms panels there and all that kind of fun stuff. So we'll show that off, and now we'll head back to the civilian version for some more fun. Alright, so here we are back in the modern traditional trainer one. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to try and do some spins in this thing. Alright, because as I said, the spins and stalls was the part of it that was there for the training of. Now, there is some sort of work and some guides in the manual and tips on how to actually do these properly. So we're going to give that a go. We're going to see how we go. We're going to induce a stall as because we should be. Let me just check our GPS. We should be coming up towards our airport here. So let's do a descent into it in style. All right, so. Of course, the first thing is we're going to be trying to put, as I said, it in a spin. Now, we're going to first things to do. We're going to need to bring back the throttle. We're going to need to induce a stall. Now, stall speed for this should be around about 50-55 knots. In a clean configuration. There you go. It's funny, he's actually got, you can feel the airframe starting to vibrate, and he's got custom vibration sort of coding into the model, so you can actually see and feel the airframe vibrating as it hits that sort of stall speed edge. Oop, there it is. Cross controlled. As I said, even this is really hard to put into a spin and put into a stall. It really is, and it pretty much self-recovers. It's just an amazing aircraft, it really is. And you can see why it was so important to flight training and stuff like that, because it can be so docile. Alright, see if I can do that. See if I can induce another stall again. It's, as I said, it's really difficult to actually try and induce a proper spin in this aircraft. It really is. We're going to try and do a cross control one. Oh, there it is. Alright, elevator neutral. Rudders out. Power on. Yep. Hurts the airframe, but yep. Okay, yep. Yeah, no, they're modelled. They're modelled. As I said, it's still, but it was still you know, even in a sim, that was kind of heart pounding. I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of heart pounding. Yeah, but as I said, it still manages to, it does it, but it's still relatively easy to recover from because, it is sort of that design to actually be able to, teach pilots and be able to get them to their understanding of that, and teach them safely how to actually recognise and recover from spins and stalls. So yeah, it's pretty impressive. All right. Well, that does now bring us towards our destination airport. So we're going to join into a left downwind for 3-4 from the weather that I checked before. Do our pre-landing. Now I know I need to, fuel pump is on. Looking good there. Okay, carburetor heat. Carburetor temperature is a little cold. Let's warm you up a bit. There we go. Mixture needs to be auto rich. Okay. Prop to full. Slow down. Power a bit more. Bleed off some of this airspeed. First on flaps. Very, very nice sound of the flaps there. Turn onto our base leg. River to guide us in a bit. So I have to commend Aussie Ant for the incredible amount of detail that's gone into this aircraft. Like, it's insane the detail he's gone into this. It's just from from the history of it, from the engine sounds to the cockpit sounds, but also just the fact that he's delivered an aircraft that you actually you want to take care of. You really have a connection with the airframe, which is odd for the fact that it's it's a virtual airframe, but you do have a connection with it, and you do have this thing where you want to look after it, it just makes you want to look after it and be and take care of it, because it's like the A2A aircraft. They become a living, breathing part of your simulated world. Which is just an amazing, it's an amazing achievement and feat for add-on developers to actually be able to do that. And I have to commend Ant for doing this, because I find that we talk about sort of study level sims and stuff like that, and people often get bad ideas about them and things like that. But this for me definitely falls into what I would term as a study sim, and is a great one for anyone who wants to sort of like learn aviation and wants to look at flight training the way it used to be done and stuff like that. And it'll teach you a lot of really great skills that'll serve you well in the future. And I have a funny feeling I done a really long landing here. Oh, bounced it a bit. Brakes on. Touch the brakes a bit. Ah, there we go. Plenty of room to stop. Alright. Bring up the flaps. Taxi back. Back taxi down the runway here. Back to our parking for the day. As I said, a lot of really cool animations. The level of detail that's gone into in this aircraft is just absolutely incredible, and really makes you actually sort of sit up and go, this, it actually shows you what some of the cool things are. Now, as I said, it's got its couple of little quirks, and the fact that, you know, like the sound can be a little bit finicky. Also, for those who aren't familiar with Lockheed Martin, for those who have Lockheed Martin's prepared 3D version 3, Lockheed Martin have actually sort of basically said we want add-on developers to actually install add-ons in like different from why they've been installing them for years in FSX. Very few developers have actually listened to it. Ant has, and this is done fully by the book for Lockheed Martin's SDK. So yeah, it installs in a little bit of an odd place, but yeah, that's only applicable to P3D version 3 users. But yeah, just FYI, if you're looking for it, you can look for it in a different place. Just FYI. Anyway, but overall, as I said, I've tried this out both in FSX Steam Edition and in Lockheed Martin's P3D, and it's just, as I said, either one, it is just an absolutely incredible experience. It really is. Alright, let's get this shut down properly. Alright, so first things first, we're going to need to do, okay, we've got prop there. You know what, let's bring up the checklist for this. Alright, okay, let's find the normal procedures. Shut down. Okay, so braking, okay, carburetor control needs to go back to ram air. Okay. Clear behind aircraft, yep, maybe wandering through there. RPM set 1600. Okay, prop pitch to minimum. And idle cut off, throttle to full as the engine shuts. Ignition off once the propeller stops spinning. Magnetos off. Gyros off. Generator field off. Wait for the oil pressure to drop. Meantime, let's turn the fuel pump off. Fuel oil pressure 0. Turn off the fuel cocks. Okay, master battery to ground. Throttle closed. Lock controls. And chocks if in. Okay. Wheel chocks. Leave the pitot cover off for now. I can break off. And there we have it. Alright, let's unlatch the canopy. And we'll open that one up. So there we have it. As I said, this is an absolutely incredible add-on. It really is. It is something that, you know, I love A2A stuff for the amount of detail. I do not spend enough time flying them because, you know, as I said, they are a very in-depth simulation, and this is an absolutely incredibly in-depth simulation of this Commonwealth Aircraft Corporation Winjeel. It really is, and I really cannot say enough good things about this. As I said though, but be warned, if you are not willing to invest the time in learning and following the process and reading the documentation, this aircraft is not going to be for you. It really isn't. But as an experience, it is amazing and worth every cent it is, as I said. And also, it's Australian made, so you know, that's cool. It's Australian made aircraft by an Australian made flight sim developer, so well done, awesome work. Anyway, alright folks, that does round up my review, my first look and my review of the CAC Commonwealth Aircraft Corporation Commonwealth Aircraft Corporation Winjeel, brought to us for FSX and P3D in all its forms by Aussie Ant. Available now from Aussie Ant and from your favourite flight sim online retailer now, and as I said, I cannot recommend this enough. This is an absolutely awesome piece of kit. So there you go. Alright folks, thanks very much for joining me. Don't forget, as always, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these videos and you want to see more. And of course, as always, you can catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by finding me on Facebook and on Twitter. Just search NovaWing24. Alright folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.